Hi, Chris Holmes here, that coaching guy from Maryland, and I'm circling back around with you to find out how you've been coming with enhancing and expanding your small group ministries. This is a 5-minute phone call checking in with you. I just want to review real quickly what we talked about when we were together just a month ago. And you may remember we started the day by asking the question, why have small groups? Why is that even important? The primary reason of that, of course, is that that's where disciples are made. It's where lives are changed. More so than any other aspect of ministry in the church, small group ministry is the place where disciples are formed and people's lives with their walk with Christ are deepened. The second reason is that the research shows in the United Methodist Church that the most vital congregations are congregations that tend to be starting small groups and to provide a variety of small groups for their membership. And the third reason you'll remember is that newer people to a congregation are not going to join your existing small groups. They're just not. They're not going to feel comfortable there. It's not because there's something wrong with those groups. It's just a dynamic. So if you really want to engage the newer members of your congregation and the newer Christians in a small group experience, you need to be starting some new ones that they can be a part of from the very beginning. In the second part of the morning, we talked about the resources. Do you remember I handed you a packet of resource material, not that thick, but quite a bit. We did the little web exercise where a very willing group of folks sitting at that middle table there took that pink string and we passed it around. We formed that web and experimented with all the dynamics that can happen in a small group. And really that was to illustrate how important it is to have a trained leader of a small group so that we set people up for success as leaders of small groups rather than failure, and which means we need to train them. And I gave you some information on facilitating small groups, best practices, and the stages of team life and dysfunctions of a team and all of that. I hope you'll refer back to it. After lunch, we talked about the Wesleyan small groups. And remember that John Wesley, his absolute brilliance was not everything else he did. It's the fact that he got people together in these accountability groups where they could ask the important questions of discipleship. They could ask, though, how goes it with your soul questions? And they could push each other and help one another be accountable in their walk as a Christian. So, and with the Wesleyan groups, we realized we don't need to start something new. We don't need to create something fresh. We just need to reclaim what's worked from the very beginning of Methodism and adapt it for our context today. And then finally there was a panel experience at the end of the day where some of you volunteered or were volunteered and shared some of the best practices that you're experiencing in starting small groups and in reaching people in your context. So, the question I really have for you at this point is, because I know how these things go, you go home, you went home, right? And you got busy with other things. The question I have for you is, have you moved forward with some of what you learned? And if not, I want to encourage you to look around and find that. I know you got your notes somewhere. Find that packet in your notes and pull it out. If you're a layperson, go meet with your pastor if you haven't already, and figure out with your pastor what the next stage looks like in terms of enhancing small groups in your church. If you're the pastor, get together a group of lay people to look at that with you if you don't already have a group like that. The point is, you invested a whole day of your valuable time in our learning together about this important area of ministry. My deep hope is that you will now put some of that into action, that you'll figure out what the next thing is and take the small group ministry in your setting to the next level. And I know your district superintendent has this big willing heart and deep commitment to growing small groups in the Wesleyan manner. And I know he will be a great resource for you and an encouragement as you do so. So blessings, get busy, do some of this stuff. Hope it's going well. Remember that I promised to pray for you, and I am. Bye-bye.